The GallowgateShots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome back to the GallowgateShots YouTube channel. My name is Matthew, and thank you for being here for a very, very long overdue episode of Beyond the Lines. It's the show where we get an opposition supporters view when it comes to previewing Newcastle's next game. And this Saturday at 12:30, Eddie Howe's Newcastle welcome his old club Bournemouth in what some people are calling the Dan Gosling derby, as Newcastle go in search of what would be an unprecedented 10th win in all competitions in a row. And to help me preview this one, I am joined by a very special guest. He is a contributor to the Back of the Net YouTube channel and podcast. It is the beautiful, it is the brilliant, and being attacked by animals by the sound of it, it's Jeff, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing there, Jeff?
Very good. I've got a dog in the room who's kicking off occasionally, but I'll try to keep her quiet.
It's all right. It just wants to join in the conversations about Newcastle Bournemouth, man. And I'm all for it. But how are you doing? All right?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for doing it for us. It's a Friday's Eve as we record this Thursday afternoon. The weekend's slowly approaching, and we'll get straight into it. Newcastle at the moment, absolutely flying. Probably the most informed team in the country right now. And like I mentioned, they're looking for that unprecedented 10th win in all competitions in a row. However, on Saturday, they come up against a team who are in their own very, very impressive run of form. Unbeaten in 10 games in all competitions. Going very well. They've got scalps of such as Man City, whether you want to say it's not really a scalp because of how they're playing, that would just be wrong in my opinion. Man City coming off the back of a very good draw against Chelsea at home as well. It's Bournemouth. How are you feeling about the season so far, Jeff? Because you've got a lot of good results so far.
Yeah, we're having a phenomenal season. It's unprecedented. I mean, the coach has got the team playing a brilliant style of play, very entertaining. And you're right, we've beaten Tottenham, we've beaten Arsenal, we've beaten Man U at Old Trafford, we've beaten Man City. So should have beaten you guys when we played you at home, except for apparently the shoulders, not the arm. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Well, we'll forget that happened.
I thought you might say that.
given that we've already actually had the rub of the green the other way with a certain goal at Old Trafford from Joe Linton, where he scored with his shoulder and it was absolutely fine. So
work for him.
I will. Good for him. Good for him. But yes, we'll skate past that. I mean, obviously the previous meeting between the two sides, though, yeah, it did end in a score draw early in the season. I can remember watching that game and thinking we've done well to come away with a point there. And as the seasons went on, it's proved to be a much better point than it actually was, in my opinion, because Bournemouth are playing so well at the moment. Going great guns under Iraola. Is he the manager now? Is he the one that you feel as a fan base is going to take you to that next level, or at least solidify you maybe as a top 10 side in the Premier League?
Totally. I think he's going to take us to the verge of Europe. Whether we'll get there this year is another matter, but definitely the right manager. The way the players respond to him is phenomenal. His game plan, in-game management is great. There is nothing really that we want to complain about. We've recruited really well. He's getting a really good tune out of the players. And I think there is one big issue that makes our game against Newcastle, in my opinion, probably a game too far. And that is, we finished Stamford Bridge, the game on Tuesday night, and we've got 12 fit first teamers. That's how many we've got. So you could not be playing us at a better time, because we're going to be absolutely shattered after the effort they put in on Tuesday to get a point against Chelsea. But we ain't got any more players to pull off the bench who can make a difference. So I think last season, when we came up and gave you a really good game, and arguably I think you were fortunate to escape with a draw in that game. This time, I think the way that Isaac's flying, Gordon, you've got goals, Tonali, Joel Linton. You've got you're playing at a phenomenal level, and I don't think we'll be able to match you for 90 minutes on Saturday.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I'm loving your pessimism is fueling my optimism, which is something that is in short supply sometimes from my viewpoint, because I always try to see the way in which things can go on, and to sort of fuel a little bit of pessimism on my side, maybe fuel your optimism. You know, the record that Bournemouth have against Newcastle is actually not to be sniffed at, because I mean, it's not like it's littered with wins and victories, but it's you know, I think you have to go back to 2020 to the last time that we beat you guys, and that was at our place. I think it was a 2-0 or 2-1 victory. But Eddie Howe, since becoming Newcastle manager, has struggled to get that elusive win in the Premier League over Bournemouth. He did get a very close 1-0 in the League Cup run of a couple of seasons ago, but still not yet to get that league win. I mean, we'll move on to Eddie Howe now. I mean, I don't need to talk about him too much. What's in the past is in the past, but within, you know, your circles, your friendship group as Bournemouth fans, do you still hold Eddie Howe in a high regard?
Yeah, absolutely. He's loved and revered and always will be. He made the club what it is. He saved us and took us on a journey that went from the bottom of League Two on minus 17 points to playing Premier League football. And whatever way you look at that, it's an amazing achievement. I think what he does, his style of coaching as well, is to really improve the players that he works with. So that's something that made him perfect for the Newcastle role, because let's face it, before him, your coaches were kind of big money signings and try and stick them together a bit like Man U do and try and make a team out of it. And Eddie's not that type of coach, and he's gone in there. The players turnover wise hasn't been huge, I don't think, for Newcastle. No. But what he does is he gets the best out of those that stick with him. And he's proving that. I think the style of play that Eddie plays is terrific to watch. He's a very intelligent coach. I think he struggles against us, partly probably because he still feels that he's got an affinity to the club. And it probably hurts him to take points off us. But you know, we've got to take advantage of that. There'll be no sympathies from our side. We're going to try and beat you. And if we beat you, we would all love it. But I just think it's probably a game too far.
Well, fingers crossed your predictions are correct. And fingers crossed Eddie Howe has his, you know, ruthless cap on at the weekend. But no things are certain in football. And I will have to go back, though, and correct you. We weren't massive money signings under the previous coaches. We spent £40 million on Joe Linton, which at the time didn't seem like a great bit of business, but now seems like astronomically brilliant business. But yeah, the coaches were basically hope that these top players like your Callum Wilsons, your St. Maximans just do the business, and what else happens. But I think, yeah, you're right. Eddie Howe, a proper coach, someone who looks to the future. He's looking at the present. He's always thinking, playing chess, not checkers, as some would say. But we'll move on to the game at the weekend now. And you've just mentioned about Bournemouth's injuries. You've got the likes of Evan Nielsen's out, Unal's out. I think you've just recalled a striker as well from the Championship. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Jefferson, who came on Tuesday night, was recalled, and he's our 12th senior player with first team experience. He'll be on the bench, assuming that is that the 11 fit ones who finished the Chelsea game, Jefferson actually came on and finished that game, but he'll be on the bench.
Yeah.
But there are 11 players that we started with, and hopefully Jefferson will be the one experienced player on the bench to come in and rattle in the last minute winner.
Oh, wow. Well, I love the way that the optimism is suddenly just fired up now. But I mean, you've got the likes of, Semenyo is having a very good season. Justin Kluivert, although I saw that, he scored 7 goals. I knew that he'd scored quite a few this season, but am I right in saying that 6 of those 7 are from the penalty spot?
6 pens, yeah. 3 in one game. So he's cold, so don't give him a penalty, is my advice. But I think Semenyo is the one who's got the headlines. The ones you also need to probably highlight as being the strengths of our team. Kirkes down the left-hand side, left back, is a great left back and may not be with us too many seasons. I know Liverpool already sniffing around him. The The midfield is really solid, so he'll probably play Adams with Christie in that midfield. And Lewis Cook will probably play right back because we haven't got any fit right backs at the moment. Zabani and Howson at the two centre halves, really quality. And then we've got David Brooks, who you will know has had a much publicised problem with cancer.
Yeah,
come back from
scored
that
recently, didn't he? Scored a couple of games ago, didn't he?
Scored a great goal against Everton last week, and he played really well in the cup game against West Brom, and also against Chelsea. He was great, and clotheslined Cucurella, which was great, and didn't get sent off. So the fans' favourite.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I think obviously it's great. David Brooks obviously does stand out not because of that reason. He was a really bright player before he unfortunately had his illness, and it's great to see him obviously back doing what he does best. And it did highlight when he scored against Everton. And again, I'll mention Semenyo because he has really shone when I've watched Bournemouth. And I mean, Justin Kluivert, his father won't be unknown to Newcastle fans and fans of world football, of course. His dad was a fantastic player for the most part. Wasn't very good at Newcastle, in my opinion. Some people might disagree, but I don't think he was very good. But if you're going to get some joy, is it the likes of Kluivert and Semenyo you're going to have to look to in terms of pace on the wings and trying to break and hopefully, getting around whoever you're playing at centre forward, given the injuries?
We are going to play in a very similar style to the way we played against you last year. And you will remember the high press that caused Dubravka to miss kick.
Yes.
And Solanke scored last season. I think that's going to be a feature of the game on Saturday because it is the way we play. There's also, I think, the counter-attack, which was the second goal we scored last season when Semenyo fired a rocket into the top corner. And he is capable of that. Kluivert's capable of that. Brooks is capable of that. So those sorts of counter-attacking goals, again, it's what we're known for, what we've done really well this season. And I think something else that we might try to exploit is your vulnerability from set pieces. And the disallowed goal that we scored against you at our place earlier in the season, we have scored so many goals from set pieces, whether it's free kicks or corners this season. Very clever from that. The coaches have that, have a whole range of options going for those routines, and they work. So watch out. We even undid Arsenal with one of those early in the season. So, we are a force.
Arsenal, the aforementioned king of set pieces, apparently.
Indeed, yes.
Well, I'll get on the phone to Eddie and I'll make sure he knows to keep an eye on the set pieces if he doesn't know already. Before we get on to our predictions on scores and stuff like that, just let me know, Jeff, what are your hopes for this season? I know you mentioned at the top of the podcast that, Iraiola's going to take you on the cusp of perhaps those European places should the English clubs do well in the Champions League. There is this chance of it being a fifth Champions League place, which would then kick down the other places if they want Europe as well. They want Europe. I've said Europe and the dog's going mad. But would you be disappointed if you didn't get Europe, or is it just is that your highest expectation? But if you were to finish 9th, 8th without European football, would that be seen as a big success still?
I think before Evan Nilsson's injury, I think we were feeling very confident about finishing in a place between 5th or 8th, and that would have been an amazing achievement for this squad this season. I think without a recognised centre forward, it could be a struggle. Actually, I may be pessimistic, but Saturday's game is one of 3 fixtures we've got in the coming month. After this, we play Forest and Liverpool at home. If we can get 6 points out of those 3 games, we are still well on track. If we can get 4 points out of those next 3 games, I think we're still well on track. I think if we lose all 3, it's going to be a really tough ask to finish 5th to 8th. But hey, if we perform like we can, we are going to be a match for any team in the Premier League for the remainder of the season, with or without a centre forward. It's just going to be, will we score enough goals?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Jeff, seeing as I'm super nice, I'll give you 6 points over these next 3 games. Absolutely no bother. Just you can get them
just not
after
Saturday.
Saturday. You'd be doing us a massive favour as well, because we're suddenly looking up, and I think we're on the coattails of Forest, and they are having a fantastic season. But hopefully we can keep up there and keep challenging the way we are. That being said, we'll move on to predictions. How do you see it going scoreline wise, if you in your heart of hearts?
I think we'll do well to score. I think maybe a 2-1 defeat is going to be respectable, and it feels like, as I say, if we hadn't played Chelsea midweek, I feel that we'd have been in a better place. But just coming off the back of earning a point there, but with no new players coming into the squad, no recoveries from injury, I think it's going to be really tough to go all the way to Newcastle and do the same again effectively. So if we have a narrow defeat, I'll still be proud of them, and it still puts us in a good position, I think, for those 2 home games to come.
Brilliant. Well, in terms of my prediction, I mean, I've said over the last couple of games, the Wolves last night and Bournemouth coming up, that this is the real litmus test for me in terms of what Newcastle want to achieve at the moment. Yes, they've won 9 on the bounce. Absolutely brilliant. Some great results, some hammerings of the likes of Ipswich and Leicester, but then going away to White Hart Lane, going away to Old Trafford. Old Trafford, a ground, whether you're playing a rubbish Man United or a good Man United, it's a ground we've struggled at. And, I'm talking to a fan of a club who've done them at Old Trafford as well, but I was over the moon with them results. And then to get Arsenal in the cup in the first leg of the semi-final and win there, amazing. But if you want to continue to be where we are and Newcastle are, we need to beat the likes of Wolves at home, who are struggling in different form, are on a bit of an upward trajectory under the new manager. And it was a funny old game the other night, but we won't get into that. But then Bournemouth to come, a really good side. I know you've got the injuries. I know you, like you said, 12 first teamers, but really good manager, some really top quality players who were in a fantastic run of form. Either way you look at it, these are the type of sides we need to put up a performance against at home and hopefully get the win. I'm going to be positive and probably say the same as you. A 2-1, I do see both sides scoring. Hopefully for my dodgy heart, it isn't, too nervy near the end. But hopefully we can get a result. But, best of luck to you and Bournemouth after Saturday. We hope you can continue this form, because we're not playing you again after this. And all the best to you for the rest of the season. And thanks a lot, Jeff, for being on this.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. And we will definitely give you a game, no matter how many fit players we've got.
Well, you've heard it here. Hopefully Jeff is very wrong, but we'll see. We'll see. Thank you everyone for tuning into this long overdue episode of Beyond the Lines. We're going to try our best to get as many of these going for the rest of the season. I've enjoyed being back on here. It's always a pleasure. But if you could do us a favor, like the video, share the video, subscribe, comment below. You can become a member of the channel for $2.99 a month. You get loads of nice exclusive content because of that. But until then, I will see you next time, and thanks for watching.